Our next category is men's basketball. We have 4 inductees. First is the late Henry Dickerson, born in Beckley, West Virginia. Started dribbling and passing a basketball while he was still in diapers, no doubt. Henry was a star at Woodrow Wilson High School. He brought pride to the capital city of Charleston and to Morris Harvey College. He was the first athlete in the WVIA conference to be named first team all-conference and conference all-tournament in all 4 years as a student athlete. To this day, Henry still holds the Golden Eagles' career rebound record, 1,356. He was an NAIA All-American, averaging 16 points and 12 rebounds a game. Henry spent a couple of years at the NBA, the Pistons and the Hawks, and in the Eastern Basketball Association in Syracuse. In Detroit, he was teammates of the legendary Bob Lanier, who once said that Henry was the hardest working player he had ever played with. Henry never made a big splash in his 2+ years in the pros, so he got into coaching. For a year in high school, then to Charleston, then over to Marshall, where many of us became acquainted with him, especially Mocs head coach Mac McCarthy, who in 1989, on the advice of his assistant coach L.J. Kilby, talked Coach Dickerson into moving to Chattanooga as an assistant coach. What a great hire that turned out to be, one of the most successful good cop, bad cop duos in basketball history, with Henry becoming a master at smoothing out a player's ruffled feathers after Mac had, believe it or not, chewed that player out. I can't imagine Mac doing that, but apparently he did. With Mac and Henry and LJ and the rest of the staff working their magic, the Mocs dominated the Southern Conference for nearly a decade. 6 SoCon regular season championships, 4 trips to the Big Dance, including an unforgettable run to the Sweet 16 as a 14 seed. That was in 1997. And when Mac left for greener pastures, UTC turned the program over to Henry. He was the university's first ever black head coach. Henry kept the Mocs competitive in his 5 seasons as head coach, but he never was able to manage catching lightning in a bottle again, so the administration decided to make a change. Henry wound up at North Carolina Central for 5 years, then to Johnston Community College for a couple of years before deciding to ride off into the sunset and go home for some quality time with Deborah and their 2 boys, Brian and Brandon. A broken hip 3 years ago led to complications in his heart and lungs, complications which took Henry's life in August of 2023. Deborah, Brian, Brandon, and everybody else who was ever lucky enough to spend any amount of time with Coach D would tell you life has not been the same without Henry. He'd go into the garage on cold mornings, start the car so it'd be warm for Deborah when she set off to work. John Gibson, who coached under and with Henry at UT, said his priorities were always centered around family, and the team was family too, and we'd never had a player who didn't love him. Local guys, Brandon Bourne and Johnny Taylor, who Henry persuaded to stay home and play for the Mocs, both said that Coach Dickerson was like a surrogate father, always there for us with a heart full of passion and unwavering dedication. Gone, but absolutely never forgotten. We welcome Coach Henry Dickerson into the Greater Chattanooga Sports Hall of Fame, his son Brian here representing him tonight.